Micaiah's here! Let's hope the wait's been worth it. The wait has been worth it, hasn't it? I am so glad she's been released because honestly I've been hearing her name for quite a while and I'm just happy that she's released because now maybe I get to learn about other Fire Emblem hero people that should be in the game. Just because I find this whole community fascinating and I want you to tell me what hero you're hoping is going to be next up down in the comments. Just go ahead and figure out how to completely break this hero. Let's get her digits 1 BST. That's pretty much par for the course anymore. 35s everywhere! You get a 35, and you get a 35, and you get a 35! Everybody gets a 30! Actually, only 3 of them do. The other 2 are terrible, and who cares about the defense? She has a wonderful resistance at 35. 35! So, who cares? But that speed, 28, that's not fast anymore. That's not even acceptable anymore. It was acceptable about a year ago when the game launched, but Intelligent Systems has since then crept on speed so much, and that is the one little bit of power creep in this game that they just can't take back. Not without putting out some really, really broken skills. So what kind of really, really broken skills are we dealing with here? Well, let's talk about that. We have Thani. Oh, come on. Look how much text there is on that. It broke the formatting of my presentation. This is absolute garbage. Last time I saw that much text on the card, there was an errata for it. I mean, oh. Regardless, what's going on here is that it is effective against 2 different types of units. You're talking about armor, and you're talking about horsies. So it's already going to be dealing 1.5 times damage to them. In addition, if that armor or a horsey is attacking you at a range, that first hit that you take from them per combat is reduced by 30% damage. So there's a lot going on here, and that might compensate for her terrible speed. It's a legendary tome, it's not going to be going on anyone else, and speaking of things that are inheritable, we have Sacrifice. I mean, it's better than Ardent Sacrifice, but it power creeps Harsh Command, it gives that healing ability at the great cost of yourself. It's a nice skill, and yeah, it's going to stay on her. It's also worth a lot of arena points because its skill point cost is so high. Otherwise, the rest of her kit, she has a full kit, is pretty darn good. Distant Defense, always wanted to have on people. Guard 3, that's an expensive skill to get. Doesn't really help out in that many regards on her, but we'll talk about that in a moment. And Drive Attack 2, I mean, yes please. One thing that I want to talk about real quick in regards to power creep issues is that let's go ahead and take a look at her stuff here, and it's obvious to see there is some amount of power creep going on. However, I want to say that this is not the end of the world. Okay, she has a tome that can affect 2 different types of units rather well. However, mages, to this date, have always been able to really hurt armor units. That's nothing new, okay? She's not doing anything that remarkable, and you're going to see that in a moment or 2. The other thing about this particular tome, even though it has the resistance bonus, so she's up to 38, really. We lost the 35 meme already? I didn't even make t-shirts for that yet. This game has some problems with other units that are out there, like Reinhardt and Bolin. They're just too populous. A lot of people have been adding in Cecilia into that mix, and it's a good thing because that is a homegrown problem, so to speak, in the game. The IS didn't just magically introduce that. That was something that has been here since the start. Since the start with skill inheritance. I'll take that part back anyway. So when it comes down to it, you are trying to create a unique tome that's not going to go anywhere. It's going to stay on this bag of stats that obviously, if you compare it to other things, has a lot of power creep. I mean, take a look at Shine Plus and tell me that that's equal to this. It's not. But when it comes down to it, it's going to help her do the job, mostly. And Sacrifice is Sacrifice, whatever. I almost don't care about it, to be honest with you. It's probably a bad attitude, but I don't. And now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about our first build. I only have 2 here for you, so this first one, as the usual, is a budget build. Let's go ahead and look at what we're doing here just to round out and tweak some things here. We're keeping Athani sacrifice. We're going to go ahead and give her Glimmer. She's missing that. We're going to give her Glimmer because when it activates, oh boy, it's wonderful. You could go Iceberg if you want, but the 2-round cooldown of Glimmer is going to be very, very important because, gosh, she doesn't have that much bulk. She can spar off against some mages for a while, but she doesn't have that much bulk. You need to get that kill in there sooner rather than later. And you can definitely do the Iceberg thing. I'm not your dad, you can do what you want, but I really do recommend Glimmer in this case because of how quick it is for her. And she doesn't have a high speed, she's not going to be activating it that often. We're going to keep Drive Attack. I want to give her Blue Tonebreaker, for most of the reasons I just talked about. Blue mages are the speed demons of the game. They're the ones that are the fastest. Ninu is also very fast, but when it comes down to it, all the blue mages are just fast. I mean, that's even Odin's fast, although it doesn't matter. So regardless, whenever you have something like that on the field, you need to be able to check it, and this ensures that she can take care of all of that. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at our ratings here. I rate different aspects of the heroes from A to F, where A is awesome, F is fart pot, and of course there's an S rank because why not? But that does represent near perfection. And so if you take a look here, her Duelist Rating, her ability to keep on going back and forth with hits, is about where you'd expect a mage to be, a powerful mage to be. And her Deflector Rating is amazing. As a matter of fact, there's only one group that's holding her back. Surprised that it's green? I hope you're not. So when it comes down to it, there is a lot of nuking potential going on here. Let's go ahead and jump into the Obituaries with the DPT Deltran's PvP threats. This is a simple score that's basically wins and losses when the unit initiates and whenever the unit is initiated on. Right now it's evaluated out of 34. This does need updated, I will admit, and I will address some of those points here in a moment, but what a nice initiation we have, 10 and 11, that's pretty good. We are getting rid of a lot of threats in the game that have been there for a while. Now, finding ways around Ike and Ryoma is not new. That's been around for a while, but you know what? A lot of people have been having problems with Black Knight. Black Knight essentially just got a re-release recently, so you need to have a way to handle that. Also, you don't see Arden a heck of a lot, which is a shame, because he's a powerhouse and he's super hard to stop, which is why he's in the DPT. So whenever I see somebody one round killing him, that is wonderful. And we do take care of a lot of other horses whenever we initiate, plus a few other stragglers here and there, like Alencia, because that's pretty cool. Now the thing is that we are getting punked a lot, specifically by green mages, but they're not the only ones having all the fun. A lot of distant counter units are still going to kill us. The Ira in the DPT does not have distant counter, but the Mia in the DPT does, and the reason for that is because Ira does have a slightly higher initial attack, at least under her most common build, not the best build for her, but the most common build, and so to have a sort of a balance there, Mia is the one that has the distant counter there. So that is what's going on here. And see here that Cecilia is beating us up, and actually we're losing to Ryoma, where we're beating Ike. Now, the reasons for this is because there's just that extra margin here, and we're not expected to necessarily get rid of Ryoma, but there is that margin here where if the resistance is too darn high, then we're not going to break through, and that's what's happening with Cecilia, Mia, and Ryoma. They're just too bulky in this particular regard and are able to retaliate at a distance. This is a really big problem with Cecilia, because the Cecilia here in the DPT does have a Blade Tome equipped, which means that she does have a horsey buff on attack and speed for the sake of calculation. If she gets another buff to her defenses, it's all over. It's all over. And of course, once you start merging, it's going to be impossible for her to keep up. This particular build can catch up with Reinhardt with lots of merges, not so with Cecilia, and that is one of the problems that I see with this. You have this wonderful tome that's supposed to break things and not die to this stuff, and you do. So that's where I'm looking at this going, why are we so terrible? Why are we such a not a good unit? Why was this really what we waited for? I mean, I was told that she was going to be amazing, and people were debating what legendary weapon she was going to have, and then I see this, that she can't handle the current meta, and in a way, I guess maybe I'm happy, because it means there is no power creep here. It means that she's just a unit, just a girl in the world with an awesome bird. To be fair, you do defend well against the Reinhardt and Bolin, and like I said, you can take a lot of merges from Reinhardt and some from Bolin. But enough about that. What kind of other things can we do with Micaiah so that she can continue to dominate the way that she should on the battlefield? I kept you in suspense long enough. Here's what I propose as her best build. And so what we got going on with this is that we're throwing away distant defense. It's not saving her. In Tempest Trials, you might see some things because then you won't get a lot of chip damage from different units, but attack resistance bond is fine. And whenever I use a bond skill, I do calculate it as if they are standing next to somebody. I don't assume there's any other buffs on them, so this is simply calculated, giving her the bonus to attack and resistance with attack and resistance bond. But if you put this on her and also find extra fodder for resistance play and have that target, wow, that just changes so many things for her. But she's still on a razor's edge with several different builds. Let's go ahead and talk about that here in a moment after I point out that yes, going all out on this build, we also have Wind Sweep. Wind Sweep is everywhere in high tier PvP arena right now, and it's hard to get. It's only on one unit that's summonable, 5-star exclusive, and we were given a couple of opportunities to have Wind Sweep via Joshua from a Tempest trial, so whenever that repeats, we'll be able to at least get more fodder for that. But units that have Wind Sweep on them are a nightmare right now. A lot of people are trying to catch up with that, and this lets us do something that we were having a lot of problems with before. Let's go ahead and scoot on over into the DPT and talk about what's going on here. The initiation is 18 and 5. The catch is 5 and 25. It's not good, but we have so many people that we're finally getting rid of here, and some people, as I mentioned before, I need to re-update my DPT, but I will talk to you about what's missing here and why Wind Sweep is so important. So you see here that we're getting that Ryoma finally, and we're getting Cecilia. I was telling you before that they just had too much magical bulk in order to not die, and so now we've taken care of that. Also, giving her the plus attack means that they can catch up even more. They can have a buff or something like that on them. It's fine. You're going to still mow over them. We also get rid of a lot of other people here that are good. We're finally getting rid of Effie on initiation, and we can handle quite a lot of different units. It's just so fantastic. There are people that punk us down. Still a lot of green mages. There's just not much you can do in that regard to be able to just defend from all of those. And then also, if somebody is just way too bulky on resistance, talking about Niles, talking about Innis, who is in the DPT, you're going to have problems with them as well. Even with resistance ploy, it doesn't matter. They're going to be able to come back at you with a vengeance, and that's pretty bad. It is nice, though, that you have some other things going on for you. If you can get that speed buff, this whole thing goes away, because then they can't retaliate on you. That is the other problem, is that now you are worried about ensuring that you're keeping above that, keeping their resistance down and their speed up. So this is a very needy build. It needs a lot of help, but there are a lot of other benefits. Real quick, just talking about what we can do being initiated on now. Now we can get rid of your standard Blade Tome, slightly buff Cecilia, and Reinhardt, and Bolin, and a couple other mages. That is wonderful. That helps take care of a lot of the meta, and it keeps you going on strong with things. Now, before we go, as I mentioned, some things that didn't show in the DPT because they weren't even kills anyway, or losses. There's a lot of distant counter green tanks out there anymore, specifically armor, but all across the board. Brave Ike is in here with the distant counter build. So many things like that, and with Fire Sweep, you're protected from them. You can go ahead and ding them, and you're going to be fine. And that is wonderful, because then if you have a dancer, then you have one answer to that whole thing. If you've already buffed your Micaiah, then she's going to be able to take care of it as well. If you went ahead and have a dagger user standing by ready to finish something off, or somebody else in the wings, you can use Micaiah to actually take care of that initiation, start it off, and then you're off to the races, and everything's just going to be amazing. It will. Amazing. That is the word. Sorry for the potato quality here at the end. I just wanted to remind you that if you like your Fire Emblem information hot and fresh like Grandma's cookies, hit that subscribe button. My name is Deltran. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate all of you. And until next time, take it easy.